4 years ago, Trey Lewellen went from a full-time insurance agent to building an e-commerce business that sold $20 million of physical products in 2016. He did this without using Amazon, without using eBay or Shopify. So how did he do it? Well, stick around and you'll see. Plus, how to seek out the best mentors.
Welcome to
All
this
on
edition of Peak Performers
Peak Performers Podcast
with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Trey, thank you very much for joining us today. I've been really psyched about this interview. You are doing amazing things. Start us off with, here you are, a life insurance salesman, and then you turn it all around in 4 years and you're selling $20 million worth of physical product. What was the shift? What happened?
Man, it was insane, right? So crazy enough is I was doing the insurance gig. Actually, before that, I was doing engineering, so canceled that. And then went into insurance. And basically with insurance, I was able to be kind of like the entrepreneur to where I was able to start building skill sets such as like being okay of hiring someone and putting them through payroll, having my own hours of time. So that gave me the idea of, okay, this is kind of what an entrepreneurial life is, but I didn't have like the full capacity of what it was like because I still had kind of a boss and a direct sales manager and things like that. So I still had the pressure of, you need to be doing this and things like that. So I got to be into a point where I kind of wanted out of that. And I actually went to an event. It was actually traffic conversion. And so I went there and there's just like young guys there and older guys. And it was amazing to see like and hear over their conversations of the things they were doing and like how much they were making. Like $10,000 a month was this kid that was probably like 4 years younger than I was. And it was just absolutely amazing how he's doing that. And I just couldn't believe like, someone of that age was making that type of money, and I'm over here busting my butt doing the whole door-to-door sales and making like $6K, plus I had overhead and people to pay. So that's kind of where that first shift started to happen, and the ahas of like, there's this sphere out there that I need to be in, and that's kind of when that bubble started to pop, when I started learning the traits of kind of online marketing. And so then from there, a lot of mentoring, a lot of seeking out and trying to find the right people that know the right thing, that have the puzzle pieces that need to be put together to kind of show you the way. Now, Thor, I mean, I know you're a fanatic about this stuff, but it's like not just one person has the cure-all, right? Like someone might know Facebook ads really well, and someone might know how to build a funnel really well, and someone might know how to build a copy really well. But to find someone who knows it all is practically impossible. So I went through about 9 or 10 mentors, really, and I still have mentors today, but of just learning curve of at the stages that I was currently at, and just learning of like what to do and how to do it and how to think differently and start putting offers out there. And that's kind of where it started. It actually started with loan officer leads. I was doing loan officer leads. I couldn't build my own leads for insurance. It was against like law or something like that. But I started building loan leads, and that's kind of how I started learning Facebook and learning like what a funnel is and what a lead gen is. And that's kind of where everything started to spawn.
I love that. At the base of peak, if you took the letters P-E-A-K, the base of peak is knowledge. You've got to start with that knowledge, and you found that through mentors, which is brilliant. Find people that have done what you want to do and shortcut it. Just model what they're doing. Tell us about some of the mentors that you found that were really helpful to you along the way.
Oh man, we got to hit a roadblock real quick, because you got to think like 4 years ago, podcasts didn't exist. Facebook groups didn't exist. You pretty much still had like Facebook wall kind of building, and then you have libraries, which obviously nothing exists there. So to find mentors was super hard. To find like the events was super hard. So when you say that, like how to find the mentors and really start to dive out, like the listeners that you have right now, like you guys have it way easier than Thor and I had like 4 or 5 years ago, to where now you have podcasts. You can actually start to like vet people through podcasts. You can vet through groups, and you can vet through just like Facebook. So it's much easier to find those spheres now, I think, than it was back then. But when I was back there, I was actually doing insurance. So a guy came to me by a book. It was called The 7 Levels of Communication by Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer lived in Kansas City, Missouri, which is about 3 hours away from me. And he was kind of like this rock star, like this dude who had so much energy. And I was just like, dude, who is this guy? And I read his book. I loved everything about it. It's basically a tutorial on how to make more leads being a real estate agent. And I absolutely loved it. Well, I got to meet the guy. And I was like, I've implemented everything. I'm an implementer. I either prove things wrong or I'll prove it right. But I'll tell you one thing, I'll implement it. And he was kind of fascinated by that concept. And he was really excited about it from the success I had. And he introduced me to a guy named Sean Lynham. And so Sean Lynham was also a predecessor of his. And Sean Lynham introduced me to traffic and conversion. He goes, hey, there's this guy. His name's Garrett J. White. You need to go out and meet him. And I was like, okay, what's he do? And he's like, he's doing this crazy thing. He's changed my life. So I was like, okay, I'll go to this traffic and conversion. But little did I know, I was actually going to meet Garrett. I wasn't going for the event. At the event, I met, at the time, one of Garrett's partners, which was Adam Spiel. And so Adam Spiel was actually one of my first mentors. And Adam was kind of the guy who taught me this world of Facebook and how things are put together and how to start selling copy and make offers. And then that kind of led to leading into like a guy named Tanner Larson. And Tanner taught me things like, how to sell shirts online and what kind of offers work online and how to like really structure it, which was amazing. And then I met a guy by the name of Carl White. And Carl White taught me things such as like how to get in front of audiences versus building an audience. And I thought that was ingenious. And Carl's a smart guy. And I quote him a lot because I still look up to him. But he taught me a couple things, which was one, the first thing was get in front of parades. And Facebook has done that really well for all of us, is it's created a parade and it allows you to step kind of in front. And kind of going deeper on that is, let's say that there's a parade coming up in 4th of July. You can do two things. You can do a product first approach or you can do a market first approach. And the way I look at that is you can go by a market first approach saying, hey, test the market, survey the market, see what they love. Or you can do a product first approach, which is I think the market will love this and I'm going to put it in their hands. Case in point would be, let's say I love Coca-Cola and I think the world loves Coca-Cola. So I know that I'm going to go buy a ton of Coca-Cola or iced tea or lemonade or something like that. And I go to the parade and I have all these options. Well, more than likely the audience isn't going to like what I liked, right? Doing a product first approach versus doing a market first approach. Let's say you did a survey with Facebook or you did a survey going around and you said, hey, what's your guys' favorite drink? And comes back and says lemonade. Well, I have a way higher chance of selling more lemonade than I would ever sell Coke. I'm at it as a market first approach, seeing what the market really wanted versus what I think is cool. And that's something Carl White told me or taught me about, which I thought was just fascinating. And that's really a perspective I look at when we do offers online is, it's not what I like. It's not what I think is cool, because what I find is cool, no one else thinks is cool, apparently. So going that route has been a trivial piece in our success. And the other thing Carl mentioned is he would always talk about how, would you rather have a half of a grape or would you rather have a half of a vineyard? And that always sat with me. And I was like, man, that's freaking good. Because all the time, like your listeners, myself included, people I talk to through mentorship, it's like, they want to hog it all and they don't want to spawn off. They don't want to grow a big company. They don't want to share their ideas. They don't want to partner with anybody because they want to just have their little piece, right? But when you think about it, do you want a half of a grape or a half of a vineyard? I think everybody would choose a half of a vineyard. And that is to partner, to JV, to expand and scale and excel at your business. And I think that's a fascinating concept and thought process to really feed your brain of like, how do I want to go about my day and how do I want to go about my business and my life? Do I just want to be to myself and not expand and just be a part of a grape, or do I want a part of a vineyard? Like, it's amazing. So that, I had a lot of mentors, right? And those guys stick out the most. But we could talk all day about those guys, but it's absolutely crucial to have mentors because it definitely speeds up the process.
And absolutely. And it continues as well. As you go along your journey, you're looking for different people to fit into different segments of what you're doing. And I love what you said. One guy's not everything. And I literally have advisors and mentors in each area of my life. I have one for my physical being. I don't want my marketing guy for my business to be my guy that's helping me on my health and nutrition, right? What does one know about the other? Find the expert in that lane. And it's kind of funny because you and I sound like the old guys. One of my first business mentors was 1980, a fellow by the name of Charles Givens. In 1980, before the internet, right? You had to go to the library. That's how you got your information. You carried it with books. So it is much easier nowadays to find people and vet them out.
I agree. I'm totally on point on that.
I want to mention also one thing that you brought up, and I think it's so key, and so often people miss this piece, and they run around collecting more knowledge. And if you're familiar with my work, you'll hear me say over and over again, at some point you've got to take the knowledge that you have and start to execute on it. And you used the word implementer. And I love that, because if you're listening to this podcast and you're not executing and implementing, stop and start doing that. Then start adding more knowledge on top of it once you start implementing. So well said.
You got to get across the finish line.
Yeah, and so often people don't start. They just want more information. They think they're always missing something. I interviewed someone recently. She's an adventure racer, and she'd be running through the jungle. I said, how do you know which way to go? She goes, it doesn't matter. You just got to keep moving, because as you move, more things become available to you. You start to see things in a different way.
That's good.
Yeah, I love that metaphor.
Okay, why do you get up every single morning and go to work? Is it because you love morning traffic, office break room coffee, and meetings? No. The main reason people get together and work is accountability. Of course, these days you can definitely remotely work most jobs. Heck, my phone's got a more powerful computer in it than any desktop my dad's ever used. But it's not about that. What it is about is being able to look a peer in the eye and know that you delivered. A lot of entrepreneurs these days don't have that luxury. They might work from home. They might be a sole proprietor, or they might just be a one-person operation. But accountability is still an important part to execution and overall success. So what do? Well, we've got a solution. Visit thorconklin.com/accountability. Thor's set up a masterful system that's powerful and allows you to connect one-on-one with him. If you think you might be a good candidate, simply check us out. Again, it's thorconklin.com/accountability. It'll be the easiest meeting you sit through all day.
Why did you select the product that you did? I mean, so often people, get stuck in this, just this loop going around and around. It's like, well, I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this. Did you go out and did you test the market first on the marketing to find out what they actually wanted?
Absolutely. So we were selling T-shirts, right? So we were in the Teespring buzz when we started, right? Like we started a fan page, and that was like when Facebook was like, it was giving the shirt off its back. It was like, here you go. Like, you want some people to like your page? Here's thousands, and they'll be responsive, and they're going to love you, and they're going to give you likes, and those days are over. But when those did happen, it was awesome. And so we started doing research to that parade. So we used the Carl White kind of metaphor. And we started surveying them and said, hey, what kind of T-shirts do you guys want? What do you want on the shirt? And like all this stuff. And we sold over like 60 or 70,000 shirts over probably 7 months. Our biggest month was $117,000 in sales, which is huge. A ton of shirts sold. And what started to happen was people started to get into the T-shirt craze. Like, we hit the bubble, but then the bubble popped because everybody jumped in. It was a blue ocean at first, so it was clean, it was crisp, it was fun. You're just like loving it, and the sand is amazing. And then all of a sudden, like, people start showing up to your beach, right? And you're like, and they start trashing it. And then all of a sudden, the waters become polluted, and it becomes like a red ocean. Like, there's a lot of blood in it. When it starts to get bloody, you got to get out, or you're going to drown. And we saw the ocean turning red when in the comments people were like, hey, I want to buy another T-shirt from you guys, but I bought the last 10 and my wife doesn't want me to buy anymore. And I got too many shirts. And that's what the comments, like, we started to see that a lot more, and like, man, we got to move a different way. And I'm going to use this freaking jungle metaphor all night long right now, because we had to keep running, right? We had to have new opportunities open to us. And so we run, and that's kind of where physical items came from. Perry Belcher always preached from stage is, physical items sell 10 times better than digital items. So we took that advice and ran with it. And we started going after physical items. And the page that we have it used to be I Love My Glock, but Glock doesn't like their name to be presented by other audiences. So it turned into, luckily, G&G, right? So now it's turned into I Love My Gun. So we had like 300,000 people like the page and stopped doing T-shirts. And we started looking at offers. And realistically, I didn't really have any strategies or systems at the time to gauge the audience, like survey them in a way. So what we did was we just started throwing spaghetti at the wall, but we did it in such a way that it was risk-free, to where we didn't buy any inventory. We didn't have risk upon us. We didn't have cash flow issues, because what we were doing, Thor, and this was before we were using ClickFunnels. We were using entrepreneur and I got to say, it was butt ugly. And I ran across this image the other day, and I had to laugh because it's really bad. I should send you a Skype picture. But we remind me, and I will. We put up items from Amazon, and we just arbitraged them. So I would find an item for $6 or $10, and I'd just double the price. So if it was $10, I'd put it for 20. If it was $20, I'd put it for 40. And we just started creating some random order forms and just kind of putting it to our page and saying, hey, check out this really cool thing. Like, there was nothing crazy about it. We just kind of threw it up there. It didn't even look pretty. Like, it looked freaking ugly. And when you see it, you'll be like, yeah, that does look pretty ugly. But people bought. People actually trusted this form to put their credit card, like, which blows my mind to this day that people actually put their credit card through a computer. But that's how we started. And then from there, systems were born, and processes and SOPs and ways to gauge the audience. And Facebook allows you to do that more, and surveys allow you to do that more. And there's data collection services that allow you to do that now. But realistically, you could still do that today. You could go to Amazon and pick out an item and test the market. But the cool thing about that is there's no risk. And when someone would purchase, all we would do is we'd go to Amazon, and we had Prime. So we would go and buy the item on Prime and ship it to them from our Amazon account. And there's a little thing in there. You could check a box that says, don't send a receipt. So we'd check that box and wouldn't send a receipt. And we on our way we went. And once we found things to stick, that's when we started sourcing from like Alibaba and AliExpress and saying, hey, we want to order 100, we want to order 200, we want to order 1,000, we want to order 10,000, we want to order 100,000. And that's kind of where it started.
Very interesting. I did business in China for years and years, going over there to the trade shows and stuff. How did you find working in China?
At first it's a little sketchy and scary because you don't know Chinese or Mandarin. You don't know anybody, so it's foreign to you. Being my third time over there, I think is when it started to actually become a little more comfortable, because it was, a tradition now versus something new and insecure. But it's amazing what's over there. If you look up Walmart on Wikipedia, it'll state right there, 80% of Walmart's products is made in China. And I think that's fascinating. Most people don't even realize that. But when you go over there, the options are just endless of what you can start producing. And I mean, the scale is mind-blowing. But for someone like just starting out, you mentioned this earlier, like they're always in knowledge gain mode. Man, if you go over there, you're going to buy so much freaking product, because it's just like, this is a good idea, and that's a good idea, and that's a good idea, and oh my gosh, we're going to make so much money. Like, you go over there, and you'll talk to like 3 people, and like your brain gets so freaking full and big, and like you just want to explode, and you'll be like, I'm going to be filthy freaking rich at the prices that I'm seeing this stuff. Like, I just can't believe my eyes. And so that's the best part, right? Like, you get to go over there and you get to see like what things really cost. Yeah. And and it still blows my mind to this day. Like, it's phenomenal. I'll give you some examples. Like a Bosch windshield wiper. We found the factory that makes Bosch windshield wipers, and they go for $21 at Walmart. I was like, how much for these windshield wipers? And they're like 80 cents. I was like, holy smokes, give me a million. Like, we're going to be rich. And then we go down the line and we see like DeWart drills, like the drills. And these are $200 at Walmart. I was like, how much for these? They're like $20. I was like, oh my gosh, give me $1 million. We're going to be rich. And so it's like, you just want to buy all this stuff.
Did you go to the Canton Fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're at the Canton Fair. And
Yeah.
so we just went to phase 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And that's where like all the textiles are and the clothing line. And,
yes. Oh,
and we walked through there.
Did you go to the toys section?
We went to all of it. You got to go to all of it. You just can't go to one section. You got to like,
Yeah. For the listeners that don't understand the Canton Fair, imagine 10 football stadiums combined together, filled with products that you can't believe all the varieties that they have. In the toy section, they've got stuff that would absolutely kill kids. I have no idea what countries they sell some of this stuff in, but it's like these one-wheel roller blades with no brakes. It was like, who thought of that one?
So the way I describe it is, have you ever been to Disneyland? And I think pretty much most people have. And I say, okay, you can fit 3 Disneylands inside the Canton Fair.
Yeah. It's
1.1 million square foot.
It is absolutely crazy. But you're right. You can find incredible opportunities there. And one of the best things about going to the fair is if you see things that you may not be in that industry, but you're thinking about doing it, I would always go over there. And this one time, somebody had this remote control car that was about 3 foot long, and it was powered by a weed whacker engine. I'm like, my 8-year-old son will love that. Excuse me, I'm thinking about going into the remote control distribution in the United States. Would you be interested in working with me? Absolutely. Great. Well, throw one of those on the container for me.
Dude, we just imported 3 massage chairs, full deluxe, Bluetooth speakers, oxygen tanks, and loaded, 110 rolling balls or something like that. Those things go for $9,000 online. We got them for $700 a piece.
Yeah, that was my industry. I manufactured equipment.
Oh, really? Massage chairs?
Manufactured equipment that went into nail salons, including the massage chairs. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, those crazy things that they sell for $9,000 here, you can pick up for $700.
That's retarded.
Yeah, nobody knows.
You want to buy everything.
Exactly. Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter @ThorConklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.
That brings us to the end of another episode of the Peak Performers Podcast. Be on the lookout for part 2 with Trey Lewellen, where he'll discuss success with ClickFunnels and just flying the plane. That's next time, right here on the Peak Performers Podcast. We'll see you at the top.